I've just returned from Hollywood, LA, where I attended Manifest, a conference all about manifestation and success. But one of the biggest lessons I came home with wasn't about all of those things at all, which is what I want to talk to you about today. And it is, can you afford not to get help? Welcome back to Reconnect to Fire podcast. I'm Joe, a wealth and identity mentor, and I help women stop playing small and expand into the greater wealth, the visibility, the confidence, and success. So when you choose to step into these rooms, you're surrounded by highly successful businesswomen. And one thing I noticed repeatedly was that the ones that I admired the most weren't trying to do everything themselves. They had it all. They had teams, they had mentors, coaches, they had support around them visibly. They had people helping them with the things that weren't their geniuses. And it really got me thinking, because so many women, especially those building businesses, are trying to carry absolutely everything on their own. They're the coach, the content creator, the social media expert manager, the accountant, the cleaner, the admin assistant, the tech department. And then we wonder why we're exhausted. Really? We've somehow been sold this idea that strong women have to do it all by themselves. What if that's not strength at all? What if true success comes from allowing yourself to be fully supported? One of the things I realised in LA is that I've been trying to build a bigger business while still operating like a one-woman band. And there comes a point where growth isn't about working harder. It's about allowing more support in. Now, I'm not talking about needing a huge team overnight. I'm talking about recognizing that you don't get a medal for struggling and moaning about how hard things are, and you don't get extra points or acknowledged for doing everything the hard way, as so many of us have been programmed to believe. And I think this applies far beyond businesses. For most women nowadays, how many of us are just trying to carry on our whole lives and do it for everybody else? And how many are actually afraid to ask for help or to receive the support or to allow people in? Because along the way, we've learnt that needing help meant weakness. But what if support was actually one of the greatest forms of self-love we can actually give ourselves? What if the strongest thing you can do is stop trying to prove that you have to do it all alone? That was the biggest takeaway from LA, I can honestly say. Not to hustle, not to hard work any longer than you need to, but to receive more and more help. Because since bringing more support into my business and home life, I've realised something just in the last few weeks and months, that I grow and I expand faster, because the more I'm willing to accept and receive, the more I grow. My identity has to grow. I become the version of myself that is already living the life that I say that I want to be. And I know for sure that the highest version of me isn't trying and struggling to do everything herself. She has support. She has a personal assistant. She has a housekeeper. She has a team helping her create the content that this is all about and share my message. She's not struggling. She's not worried. She's doing everything with support and love. So being in these rooms with high-level businesswomen was seeing how they actually live. Not the version we see online, but the real version that's got the business, the family. And what I noticed was they were fully supported. They weren't carrying everything alone. And I think so many women hold out far too long before asking for help, because I know I did. We tell ourselves we're not ready. We tell ourselves we can't afford the support yet. We tell ourselves we'll do it when the business grows. But perhaps a better question is, can you afford not to get help? How much is trying to do everything yourself really costing you? Be honest. Because if you want a bigger, bolder, brighter future, you have to start making some of those decisions that your future version of you is already making. And you're going to have to let go of the identity that believes success comes through struggle, hustle. You have to let go of the belief that doing it alone makes you stronger. Because one of the greatest acts of self-love is allowing yourself to be supported. And here's what I personally found out. The moment I started bringing in support, I then suddenly had more energy. More ideas started to flow to me. I become more creative and I had more time to focus on what I do best. And interestingly, I almost started seeing opportunities to create the bigger income come faster. So the support actually didn't hold me back. It helped me grow. So my question for you is today, what support would make the biggest difference in your life right now, whether that was business or personal? And what would happen if you stopped waiting and took action on it? Even today, you might be surprised by how differently you show up when you know you're supported. And if you're listening to this and thinking that's exactly where I am, then I'd love to invite you onto my group coaching program, Reconnect Your Fire. And it's for women who know they're meant for more, women who are ready to explore a new identity and step into the version of themselves who is already living the life they dream about. Because together we're going to uncover the beliefs, the patterns and limitations that have been keeping you stuck and help you expand into greater wealth, bigger visibility, better confidence and success, most of all freedom, because life doesn't have to feel like a constant struggle and hustle. You get to move through life with more grace, more ease, and most of all, most self-trust and joy. And as you become that next version of yourself, with the new identity, you naturally begin attracting the opportunities. You're not chasing them anymore. The experiences and desires that you've actually been calling in come to you, because it's never really about chasing your dreams, which we've all been told. It's about becoming the woman who was already able to receive them. So if this speaks to you, I'd love to hear from you. You'll find all my details are in the show notes below. And until next time, just remember, you don't have to do it all alone. With love and gratitude, Jo.